A penguin walks into a bar and asks the bartender, "Got any fish?" The bartender says no, and the penguin leaves. Next day, the penguin walks back in and asks the bartender, "Got any fish?" The irritated bartender says no again, and the penguin leaves. Next day, the penguin walks back in and asks the bartender, "Got any fish?" The bartender, angry now, says, "Look, you've come in here 3 times asking if I've got any fish, and I've told you no. If you come back in here one more time asking me, I'm going to nail your beak to the bar. Now get out." The penguin leaves. Next day, the penguin walks back in and asks the bartender, "Got a hammer?" The bartender says no. The penguin asks, "Got any nails?" The bartender says no. The penguin asks, "Got any fish?" A trucker drives his fully loaded rig to the top of a steep hill and starts down the other side when he notices a man and a woman making love in the center of the road. He blows his horn several times, but they don't budge. He slams on his brakes and stops just inches from them. Getting out of the cab, madder than hell, the trucker walks to the couple, still in the road, and yells, "What the matter with you two? Didn't you hear me blowing the horn? You could have been killed." The man on the highway looks up and says, "Look, I was coming, she was coming, and you were coming. You were the only one with brakes." A 10-year-old girl asked her mother, "Mom, how was I born?" The mother smiled warmly and said, "Once upon a time, your dad and I decided to plant a wonderful little seed. Your father put it into the earth, and I took care of it every single day. We watered it, gave it sunlight, and watched it grow. Soon it sprouted into a beautiful plant with lovely green leaves." The daughter listened, amazed. Then the mom leaned in and said, "So, we dried it, smoked it, and got so high that we forgot to wear a con. Yesterday, my wife suggested I do something useful with my time. She suggested I go down to the senior center and hang out with the guys of my own age. I did this, and when I got home last night, I told her that I had joined a parachute club. She said, 'Are you nuts? You're 60 years old and you're going to start jumping out of airplanes?' I proudly showed her that I even got a membership card. She said to me, 'You idiot, where are your glasses? This is a membership to a prostitute club, not a parachute club. I'm in trouble again and don't know what to do. I signed up for 5 jumps a week. Life as a senior citizen is not getting any easier.'" A man excitedly bought a box of 100 condoms from the pharmacy. He got home, lit some candles, put on smooth jazz, sprayed a little cologne, and got ready for what he was sure would be a legendary night. But just to be safe, he opened the box to count the condoms. 99. He counted again. Still 99. That one missing condom hit him like a betrayal. His whole vibe shifted. He went from Romeo in the bedroom to Karen on a customer complaint hotline. Furious, he sat down and wrote a long email to the company. "I purchased your box labeled 100 condoms. To my disappointment, it only contained 99. One was missing. Because of your faulty packaging, my night was completely ruined. I hope you understand the emotional trauma I've been through." The very next day, he got a special express delivery from the company. Inside was a box with 10 extra condoms and a note that read, "We sincerely apologize for the missing condom. Please accept this complimentary pack of 10 to make up for the error. We hope your evening wasn't entirely ruined." An Amish girl is riding her horse and buggy down a country road when a police officer pulls her over. "Excuse me, ma'am," the cop says. "I noticed your buggy has a broken reflector on the back." "Oh my, I didn't realize," she says politely. "I'll have my husband fix it as soon as I get home." The officer nods, then looks a little concerned. "Also, I couldn't help but notice one of your reins loops under the horse and is tied to, well, one of his testicles. That's not safe. That could hurt the animal. Tell your husband that's got to be corrected immediately." The girl gasps. "I understand, officer. Thank you." Later that evening, she tells her husband about the encounter. "He said the reflector on the back is broken," she says. The husband nods. "All right, I'll fix it first thing. He said something else too, she adds. What was it? She pauses and frowns. Something about the emergency brake. Fresh from her shower, a woman stands in front of the mirror, complaining to her husband that her breasts are too small. Instead of his usual response of, "They're perfect the way they are," her husband uncharacteristically comes up with a suggestion. If you want your breasts to grow, then every day take a piece of toilet paper and rub it between them for a few seconds. Willing to try anything, the wife fetches a piece of toilet paper and stands in front of the mirror, rubbing it between her breasts. How long will this take? She asks. They'll grow larger over a period of years, he replies. The wife stops. Why do you think rubbing a piece of toilet paper between my breasts every day will make them grow larger over the years? He shrugs and says, Worked for your ass, didn't it? He lived, and with extensive therapy, may even walk again. A man was visiting the cemetery to place fresh flowers on his mother's grave. After a quiet moment, he began walking back toward his car when he noticed something odd. Just a few rows away, a man was kneeling at another grave, sobbing loudly and banging his fists on the grass. Over and over, the man wailed, "Why did you die? Why did you die?" It was loud, dramatic. Other mourners were glancing over nervously. Feeling concerned, the flower man slowly approached. The crying man didn't even notice. He just kept going. "Why did you die? Why did you die?" Finally, the flower man gently placed a hand on his shoulder and asked, "I'm so sorry. Was it your wife, your child, a parent?" The man looked up, eyes red and puffy, and said through clenched teeth, "No. It was my wife's first husband." Then he stared back at the headstone, sighed, and whispered again, "Why did you die? Why did you die?" It is an interview BTW, an officer in a department and a candidate seeking for job here. Officer, what is your name? Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, what's that supposed to mean? Candidate, Modape Pakurumo, sir. Officer, your father's name? Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, again. Candidate, Moshud Pakurumo, sir. Officer, sighs. All right. Your native place? Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, let me guess, Makurdi Puram? Candidate, no, sir, Minaport. Officer, now suspicious. What's your qualification? Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, don't tell me. Candidate, metric pass, sir. Officer, why do you need this job? Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, meaning? Candidate, money problem, sir. Officer, rubbing his forehead. Okay, describe your personality. Candidate, MP, sir. Officer, please, no more short forms. Candidate, monocrotic personality, sir. Officer, blinking rapidly. No wonder. I'll get back to you later. Candidate, so, sir, how was my MP? Officer, your what now? Candidate, my performance, sir. Officer, MP again. Candidate, MEANING. Officer, MP Etil mental problem. 3 technician candidates go in for a job interview at the local telephone company. They all have strong resumes, great experience, real top picks. The hiring manager says, "Listen, you guys look great on paper, but I need to know if you can handle the real work. So here's the deal. I'm giving each of you a day to set as many telephone poles as you can. Come back tomorrow and report your numbers." Next day, they return. The boss asks the first guy, "How many poles did you set?" He replies, 13. "Wow," says the boss. "That's impressive." He turns to the second guy. "And you?" 9, the second one says. "Not bad at all," nods the boss. "Still solid. Finally, he looks at the third guy, blonde, windswept, looking very proud. "And how many did you set?" The guy beams and says, "Two." "Two?" the boss yells. "That's it? What were you doing all day?" The guy crosses his arms and replies, "Hey, I didn't want to be a snitch, but these other two, they only put theirs halfway in the ground." Just after dinner, my son ran up looking panicked. "Dad, one of my lizards is sick. He's on his back, not moving." I rushed in like some kind of reptile ER doctor. My wife took one look and gasped, "She's having babies." My son screamed, "What? Their names are Max and Steve." I added, "We got two boys, remember?" She shrugged. "You try sexing lizards at the pet store." The whole family gathered, watching in horror as a tiny foot appeared, then disappeared. My daughter whispered, "It's Breach." I tried to gently pull the foot. Nothing. We rushed to the vet. After examining him, the vet asked to speak to us alone. "Steve's fine," he said. "He's not giving birth. Steve is a teenage boy lizard. And he was, just enjoying some alone time." Silence. Then my wife lost it. She laughed so hard she cried. "You tried to deliver a lizard who was just feeling himself?" she gasped. 2 lizards, $120 emergency vet visit, $45. The memory of my husband trying to be a reptile midwife. Priceless. I ordered a Chinese takeaway from a local place last night. I won't name them. Placed it on the kitchen worktop, and as I was getting plates, I heard the bags rustling and moving. I thought, what is that? Has something got into the bag? I swear I could see a little pair of eyes peering out at me. I was so scared. The bag was twitching and shifting. I leaned forward cautiously, heart racing, picked it up, put it on the floor, frying pan in one hand like I was ready to battle whatever was inside. There it was again, rustling, louder this time. Then, just as I took a deep breath and opened the bag, it was the rice. It was trying to escape the work of shame. A couple took in an 18-year-old girl as a lodger. She asked if she could have a bath, but the woman of the house told her they didn't have a bath. Although if she wanted to, she could use a tin bath in front of the fire. "Monday's the best night when my husband goes out to darts," she said. The girl agreed then to have a bath the following Monday. After her husband had gone to the pub for his darts match, the woman filled the bath and watched the girl get undressed. She was surprised to see that the lass didn't have any pubic hair. She mentioned this to her husband when he came home. He didn't believe her, so she said, "Next Monday, when you go to darts, leave a little early and wait in the back garden. I'll leave a gap in the curtains so you can see for yourself." So the following Monday, while the girl again got undressed, the wife asked, "Do you shave?" "No," replied the girl. "I've just never grown any hair down there. Do you have hair?" "Oh, yes," said the woman, and she pulled up her nightdress and showed the girl that she was most generously endowed in the hair department. The girl finished her bath and went to bed. Later that night, when the husband came in, the wife asked him, "Well, did you see?" "Yes," he said. "But why did you have to show her yours?" "Why are you worried about that?" she said. "You've seen it often enough." "I know," he said, "but the dart team hadn't." One rainy afternoon, a woman was in bed with her boyfriend when, to her horror, she heard her husband's car pull into the driveway. "Oh my God!" she gasped. "Hurry! Grab your clothes and jump out the window. My husband's home early." The boyfriend panicked. "I can't jump out the window. It's pouring outside." She snapped, "If my husband finds you in here, he'll kill us both. He's got a temper and a gun. The rain is the least of your problems." So the boyfriend, terrified, scooped up his clothes and leapt out the window, completely naked, right into the middle of the town's annual marathon. Realizing he had no other choice, he just started running with the crowd, trying to blend in. A fellow runner jogged up next to him and said, "Hey, do you always run in the nude?" "Yeah," the guy panted. "Feels wonderfully free." Another runner looked at him and asked, "Do you always carry your clothes under your arm when you run?" "Oh, yes," he replied. "That way I can get dressed as soon as the race is over." Then a third runner, eyeing him up and down, asked, "Do you always wear a condom when you run?" The guy, without missing a beat, said, "Nope, just when it's raining." A woman was cruising down the highway at 75 mph when she noticed a motorcycle cop tailing her. Instead of slowing down, she hit the gas. At 85 mph, she glanced back. Now 2 cops were on her tail. She floored it to 95. A minute later, she looked again. 3 motorcycle cops were chasing her. Just then, she spotted a gas station. She screeched into the lot, leapt out of the car, and dashed into the ladies' room. 10 minutes later, she casually strolled out. The 3 officers were waiting outside, arms crossed. Without missing a beat, she looked at them and said, "Phew, bet none of you thought I'd make it in time." A woman takes her lover home during the day while her husband is at work. Her 9-year-old son comes home unexpectedly, sees them, and hides in the bedroom cupboard to watch. Just after getting into bed, the woman's husband also comes home unexpectedly. She tells her lover to hide in the cupboard, not realizing that the little boy is in there. After a little while, the little boy says, "Dark in here." The man, who obviously got a real fright not expecting to hear anything, let alone from a little boy, says, "Yes, it is." Boy, "I have a football." Man, "That's nice." Boy, "Want to buy it?" Man, "No thanks." Boy, "My dad's outside." Man, "Okay, how much?" Boy, 100,000. In the next few weeks, it happens again that the boy and the lover are in the cupboard together. Boy, "Dark in here." Man, "Yes, it is." Boy, "I have football boots." The lover, remembering the last time, asks the boy, "Okay, how much this time?" Boy, $500. Man, "Sold." A few days later, the boy's father says to the boy, "Grab your boots and football. Let's go outside and have a game of soccer." The boy says, "I can't. I sold my ball and boots." The father asks, "How much did you sell them for and to who?" The boy says, "To a friend of mine for $600. The father says, "That's a terrible thing to do, overcharging your friend like that. That's 4 times what they cost when they were new. I'm going to take you to church and make you confess your terrible sin." They go to the church, and the father makes the little boy sit in the confession booth, and he closes the door. The boy says, "Dark in here." The priest says, "Don't start that crap again, you little toad. You're in my cupboard now." An elderly man lay on his deathbed, surrounded by his wife, 3 children, and a nurse. With a faint smile and a rasp in his voice, he whispered, "Bill, you get the houses in Beverly Hills. Mary, the offices in Century City are yours. Deborah, you take the apartments over by the LA Plaza. And to my beloved wife, all the residential buildings near downtown, those are yours." The nurse's jaw dropped. "Wow," she said. "I had no idea your husband was a real estate mogul." The wife sighed. "Mogul? Please, he had a paper route." 3 men are captured by female savages and told their private part would be removed in a manner appropriate to their jobs. The first was a lumberjack, so his would be chopped off. The second one was a butcher, so his would be sliced off. The third man started laughing. The females asked what was so funny, and he replied, "I work for Dyson." I asked my wife, "Sweetheart, why are you trying to reach the ceiling with your legs?" She said, "You don't understand these things, babe. It's called yoga, and this is a position called the candle." I replied, "And does the fact that you just farted have anything to do with it?" "It's a scented candle, a hole. Now go away." A lawyer sits next to a blonde on a plane. The blonde turns to the window to get some sleep, but the lawyer, knowing he's definitely smarter than this lady, decides to make a quick buck off her. He taps her on the shoulder. Let's play a game to pass the time. I'll think of a question, and if you can't answer, you give me $5. But if I can't answer a question you ask me, I'll give you $10. What do you say? The blonde politely declines and turns back to the window. Not one to give up easily, the lawyer groans and says, "Fine. If I don't know the answer, I'll give you $100, and you still only have to give me 5. Deal." The blonde sighs and agrees. The lawyer chuckles and asks, "What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs in the evening?" The blonde thinks for a moment, shrugs, reaches into her purse and hands him a $5 bill. The lawyer laughs and pockets the bill. "Okay, your turn now. Go on, just try your best. There's no shame in losing." The blonde thinks for a second and smiles. "What's the smallest thing in the world but has the biggest shadow?" The lawyer frowns and begins to ponder her question. He thinks, and as he continues, the blonde turns back to the window and gets some rest. As she sleeps, the lawyer decides to cheat and pulls out his phone, searching high and low for the answer to the riddle. 4 hours later, the blonde feels a sharp poke on her shoulder and rolls over to see the lawyer holding a $100 bill out towards her. She smiles, thanks him, places it in her purse, and turns back to the window. Beyond annoyed, the lawyer scoffs and sputters. "Well," he shouts, "what's the answer?" Without a word, the blonde reaches into her purse, pulls out a 5, hands it to him, and goes back to sleep.